Hi guys, so today we are going to make some frosting and decorate a cake. We're going to do this for a couple of ladies that work with Brandon. So to start with, we're just going to make the frosting. And this is just a white buttercream frosting. And the recipe calls for a cup of butter, but I'm going to do 1.5 times the recipe because I hate running out of frosting when you're decorating a cake. So instead of using a cup of butter, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of butter. So to start with, we're just going to whip this out. And the recipe calls for 1 pound of confectionery sugar. This is a 2-pound bag, so it should be pretty easy to estimate how much is in there without having to weigh it all out. Plus, depending on when time of the year you're doing this, you'll use less or more of the confectionery sugar to make it the consistency that you want to spread. Also, when you're doing this, if your sugar has a lot of lumps in it, you might want to sift it in here. This doesn't seem to be too bad, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, we're going to put in some vanilla. This is a clear vanilla. If you use the regular vanilla that's a little bit darker, it's going to make your frosting a little bit darker. So if you want it, if it doesn't bother you, then you can just use the regular. But this is just a clear vanilla, and we're going to use 1 tablespoon. The recipe calls up to 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. I'm not going to put it all in at once. I'm just going to put a couple. Again, this recipe that I'm doing is 1.5 times. Just 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I know that sounds weird, but salt brings out the sweetness too. I don't know if you can see that. Just has a nice consistency of frosting. There's no lumps in it. And you'll also notice I used a paddle when I made it. I feel that if you use a whip when you do frosting, it puts too much air into it. And so when you frost your cake, it'll have all these air bubbles in it, where this will be a little bit smoother when you're frosting. I'm gonna get my cake. Sorry about that. I like to scratch ice my cake when it's frozen. And I had made this last night, and then I just popped it in the freezer after it had cooled. Definitely want to make sure that it's all cool before you put it in the freezer. Otherwise, it will condensate in the wrapper, and then you'll have ice crystals on your cake. In this cake, we're going to put a ganache filling in the center. After this video, I will post how I made the ganache. I did that last night and made a video of that for you all too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a border of just plain frosting, before I put my ganache in there. So that way, once I put the top on, the ganache won't seep out the side and into my cake. And I have these little couplers. These go inside of your bag, and then you can put a screw on it, and that way you can change out your tips to whatever you want. And then you don't have to start a whole new bag. And this is the ganache that we made last night. If you remember right, it was real soupy when we did it, but see now it's just like soft butter. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put a scratch coat on it. It's a really thin layer, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the cake, put it back in the fridge, and that way it'll set on there, so then I put the frosting on top of it, the crumbs won't come through. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator, let it get set, and then I will come back and get you, and we'll finish it up. Okay, I put that in the fridge, it's all set. It's got a hard crust over it from being in the refrigerator. Plus I got to clean up a little bit. I make such a mess when I do stuff like this. Anyway, so now we're just gonna frost it. And if you want to be a little extra, which we always do for someone's birthday, I have this, it makes designs on the sides of the cakes depending on which one we use. It's kind of cool. You just kind of put it on there and just slide it across. I don't know if you can see that. It looks good though. I like to use this longer one for smoothing it out compared to the short one. This one's better for frosting. This one's good for smoothing. That's why I'm using two different ones. Okay, so once that's all done, we can go ahead and start decorating. So this one I still have the white left over, so I'm just gonna do a border around the top with the white icing. And I don't know how to explain how to use one of these. It's all about pulses with your hand and steadying it on there. You always wanna make sure it's pretty tight on here. I keep twisting it so that there's no air bubbles in it. And I just kind of do my design. On this one, I'm just gonna do pink roses, I think, with a little bit of green. I'll probably write in green, and then we'll have the leaves in green. And again, these are those paste food colorings. You can buy them in the Wilton food section in like Walmart and stuff. My new knife. And it doesn't take very much either, especially these pinks and stuff. but these girls are kind of spicy, so we'll give them a little bit of more brighter color. Okay, so now we need another bag. And I'm going to use a coupler on it because I'm going to write with green and I'm going to use a leaf tip with green. So I can just switch them out and not have to switch the bags. Okay, so I'm just going to do like some roses up here, maybe a couple down there. Maybe you put roses there and roses there. Then we'll just write happy birthday in the middle. I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll do roses. Maybe there. Yeah. And on this one, I'm going to reuse the white one. I think it'll be fine. So I'm just going to do a border around the bottom. Again, it's just pulses to make the shell pattern. And I used this, there was a little bit of white in there, so I'm just going to mix it up before I make flowers out of it. Okay, so I'm going to switch out the tips now from that shell tip to a rose tip, or a rose petal, I guess you could call it. And then we have a little nail, and we're going to just make like a cone in the center. Then we're just going to make the petals, just going to go up and down. I don't know if you can see that. And the rose. And you can also make little rosebuds at the bottom. They're real easy. It's just a pulse forward and a couple on each little side. And we'll put some leaves on them. Now we're going to write happy birthday. And there we are. See if I can do this without dropping it. Happy birthday. Cake all done. Looks kind of cute. I'm happy with it. Anyway, hope you all found this enjoyable. and entertaining at least. And I also hope you're all having a good day, and I will talk to you in the next project. Bye. Hey guys. Okay, so this is how I make my chocolate ganache. It's real easy. It's only a few ingredients. We're gonna start with 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. Put that in our pot. And let that warm up a little bit. To be honest with you, you could probably do this in the microwave. I've always done it this way, and plus I thought it'd be easier to show you this way too. To that, we're gonna do 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. And I use baking chocolate. Baking chocolate doesn't have a bunch of wax in it, but you could use any kind of chocolate that you want. And this is semi-sweet. And we're just gonna keep stirring it until it's all melted and comes to a boil. Okay, that's it. Also, when I get done, I put in espresso powder. I might just put a little bit in there. The coffee flavor brings out the chocolate. I don't put a whole lot. There's only like 1/4 teaspoon of that in there, but I put that in there too. Once that's done, we just transfer it to a bowl to cool. And there you go. How easy is that? Once that cools, it's gonna get a little bit thicker. It'll be more of a spreading, like a soft butter consistency. I'll put it in the refrigerator overnight, and tomorrow when we do our cake, I'll take it out and I'll let it sit out at room temperature so it'll soften up a little bit. But that's it. There's our chocolate ganache.